So today I wanted to briefly talk about Kamen Rider 01 episode 4, so let's get started. So this episode primarily focuses on Daybreak Town and giving us some answers to some questions we had in the past. So the episode starts off when we see Aruto and Izu monitoring or kind of watching over a new gear that's been issued or has been assigned as a bus guide or a tour guide I should say. This leads to them going to a dam area where we see that this is the closest point we see to Daybreak Town. And here we meet one of the major characters of this episode. So this kid is being bullied by two of his classmates about it was all his dad's fault. This kind of leads to Arthur noticing, and we see that another monster has appeared. And with that we see that Ames actually joins the fight and starts fighting the monster. And we see that Arthur actually helps the boy up. We see during the fight that the monster gets away. This leads to Arto taking the boy and Fua to the Hidden Intelligence building. Here we see that his name is Go Sakura and that his dad is Satoshi Sakura, who was a victim of the accident 12 years ago. So this is referring to the Daybreak Town incident. So this gives us a timeline that the Daybreak Town incident was 12 years ago. And we see that his dad was working there and that people keep saying that it was his dad's fault that the accident happened. We see that Fua kind of tells him that it wasn't the fault of your dad, but it was a fault of machines that were built to kill the human gears. This kind of leads to Izuka kind of saying that there are no records. We see that Fua starts kind of pointing fingers at them for keeping secrets. Anna, the Humagear, the bus guide, starts accessing kind of files, and we see that she didn't find anything. And she tells him that the common consensus for the accident was faulty maintenance. And this leads Aruto saying that is the consensus really the truth, and this kind of leads to Go and Fua going outside of the building, and with Go saying that he wants to find the truth and Fua goes along with him. We see that they both meet up at the dam where we saw earlier in the episode. We see that Yua is there trying to stop him, but she realizes that she can't stop Fua and kind of gives him a gift of some kind, being the punching crown from Graisky. She warns Fua that it packs a punch, and she kind of reminds him that don't forget what your job is. This leads Fua to say that I'm off the clock today. This leads to the both of them going near the riverside or the lakeside of the Daybreak Town or the barrier of it. But before they can set sail, we see that they get attacked by human gears. We see that while they're being attacked, we see that Arto saves them from it. I'll go back to this later, but we see that both Fua and Go with Anna inside of Daybreak Town. They manage to get inside one of the buildings, and we see that it's the place where Go's father worked. We see that they're trying to find something, and this kinda leads to the human gears starting to attack them or mooks appearing. This leads Fua to start fighting the mooks. We see that during the fight that Go starts accepting that it was his father's fault that the explosion happened, and that that's always been the truth. We see that Fua actually encourages him to not give up and keep your head up high and move forward. This kind of leads him to find a memory card, which Anna places in her headpiece to scan. And we'll go back to this later, but I'll go first to Arto's part. We see that after he kind of gives that consensus is the truth part, we see that Anna and him are talking, and we see that Anna also wants to know the truth, that a tour guide's job is to know or give information about the destination, and that if there's a need to verify the information that it'll be needed. We see that this is kind of her excuse to come along. And we do see that earlier in the episode that Arto tries to ask the vice president about what happened, and we see that he didn't get any answers, or he's keeping anonymous about it or keeping something from Arto, even if he's the president. And we see later on when the monsters start attacking or the mooks start attacking at Fuango that Arto actually stays behind to fight the mooks. And this is the first time that Arto has revealed his identity to someone other than Izu. And we see that he manages to beat most of the mooks, but when the main monster comes and starts attacking him, we see that even if with his grasshopper speed, or his jump I should say, he can't even reach him. And Izu gives him a new Prograiski, being the Flying Falcon Prograiski. And with this new power, we see he gains the ability to fly and start fighting the monster. Inside of Daybreak Town, we see that when the monsters start attacking, that Fu actually uses the Punching Kong Prograiski to transform, and with his new power, he starts beating on most of the monsters. This leads to 01 and the monster comes crashing down from the roof, and when they actually crash down, we see that the monster turns Anna into a mook. This leads to the mook, or Anna I should say, starts going on a rampage on Go, but she manages to break free from Mitsubishi Rai and projects the video, and it's about Go's dad, that he actually sacrificed himself to keep the now turned Humagear mooks from rampaging across the city, we see that he actually locks all the doors of the factory, and we see who causes, and it's Mitsubishi Rai, and that this is a declaration of their crusade, that this is the will of Mitsubishi Rai, and that they'll obliterate the city. And this kind of leads to Fuwa, after learning the information, actually does a finishing move and starts to charge up, and you see that he's directly aiming at Arto, but misses Arto, who dodges it actually, and launches the monster who was flying earlier, who was fighting Arto, straight to the sky, destroying him. This leads Fuwa to say that Ames is going to collect the human gear, and that they'll retrieve the memory and tell the truth or disclose the truth about Daybreak Town. And we see that before he can actually do so, that Anna gets obliterated by something. And we see that it actually came from a new rider, and the rider's real identity is Hirobi, Jin's partner. The episode kind of ends with Hidden Intelligence kind of doing a press conference and revealing the facts about what happened, that it wasn't caused by faulty maintenance, but by Mitsubishi Rai. This leads to the boys that bullied Go earlier, kind of saying sorry, and this kind of leads to Fu and Naruto talking, where Fu kind of tells him that you meant what you said, you wouldn't cover anything up, and Naruto kind of tells him that you wouldn't know the truth if you destroyed Anna, and this kind of leads to Naruto telling a joke, and the episode kind of ends there. The weird quirk that Fu actually has that is kind of complementing to Naruto's, that Fu is actually the only person in the show that we know of so far that has laughed at Naruto's jokes, because we do see that he actually starts to crack up at the ending, and we do hear him laugh during the credits or like after the episode kind of ends. So overall, this episode was really good. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week.